So YouTube, it's Monday the 16th of November. I came out of isolation at the weekend because I was isolated by NHS track and trace. Right now, I just want to reiterate the NHS track and trace, and I just want to remind you of something that maybe have happened to you when you were a kid. You know, it's at school and you're sitting in a classroom full of everyone, and there's always a couple of people at the back going when someone's talking about authority and laughing, and then you get, Jenkins! What are you laughing about? Have you got something to say? Yeah, that kind of thing. Get outside! It's kind of that kind of crap, right? Well, you know that grin that most kids do when they don't respect authority?
Hi folks, the good news is that NHS Test and Trace is working ever more efficiently. The bad news is that they pinged me and I've got to self-isolate.
Look at the grin!
Someone
Look at
I
it!
was in contact with a few days ago has developed COVID, and it doesn't matter that we were all doing social distancing. It doesn't matter that
You feel like a
I feel
prick.
great. So many people do.
But
in my circumstances,
how can anyone
it doesn't
take
matter that I've
this man seriously? He's acting like the kids on the back row in a classroom. Right? He got track and trace, right? I got track and trace. You get this fucking bullshit message that goes something like this. Nina, you have been identified as a contact of someone who has recently tested positive for COVID-19. You must now self-isolate at home for 14 days from the date of your contact. We would like to provide you with some critical health advice and ask you to complete a brief questionnaire about your health. Then they've set up an account for you. So it says, to provide this information and learn more, you will be helping the NHS Test and Track service to protect you and your family and the NHS. This information given to us is held in complete confidence in line with the Data Protection Act 2018. Then it says we will follow up with calls and messages throughout your isolation period to signpost you to help and support available for you. If you are eligible for statutory sick pay during isolation, you can use this message as evidence for your employer. You can download a letter from the isolation service. If you are low on income and cannot work from home while self-isolating, you may be entitled to a one-off payment of £500 through the Test and Trace Support Payment Scheme from the local authority. Contact your local authority for more information. Then it says my account ID and then it goes on. Well, every other day they send you a text message because I've got another one the next couple of days. Thank you for self-isolating. You're not alone. Many people are also having to self-isolate right now in England. Support is available for you to make sure that you are able to play the part in controlling the spread of COVID-19 by isolating at home. And then you get this phone call from an 08300 number every other day. Hi, it's NHS Track and Trace. Can I speak to... Yes, speaking. Hi, I'd just like to And then they go on about all the information that we're talking to you is confidential. Some of it may be recorded for training and purposes. Then they read you, near enough, the Parliamentary Act and Statute and tell you that you have an obligation to stay at home under a Parliamentary Act and Statute. Now, the funniest thing is, they've read this to me, but I'm not actually registered on the electoral roll. I haven't signed to say I consent to any of these parliamentary acts and statutes that have been brought into fruition in the last 8 years, so it doesn't actually apply to my person at all. So I could have actually gone out, but I've done the responsible thing and stayed at home. By sending that text message to my employee, luckily they paid me for 2 weeks. There's a lot of people who are having problems with that, and it's good that the government have got some kind of scheme that they're, compensate you in some way because they're forcing you to self-isolate. £500 for 2 weeks is not enough money, is it? Most people take home, £750, £800 every 2 weeks, surely, especially if you're living on your own. If you're living in a family with other people, then obviously the bills are a bit lower, but, you've got to earn £1,600 or above if you live on your own in this country, especially if you want to live in a house or a flat on your own and run a car and actually have a little bit of a life. So, anyway, I just found it quite bizarre how anyone could take any of this fucking seriously now. How can anyone take it seriously when you've got Prime Minister standing there and laughing his fucking arse off at everything he's saying like a fucking 5-year-old? It just shows you how much nonsense is going on. Honestly, You know, there is a real virus. We know there's a real virus. There's always a real virus every year, like a flu or SARS or whatever it is. There's always something that could potentially harm certain people within communities and within the population. And maybe it's a little bit higher percentage than the usual flu bout, but it's nothing like they said it was. So it's all kind of laughable. Maybe that's why he's laughing, because he knows it's all nonsense. I don't know. But I just thought I'd share that. Peace, love and light.